what we were predicting on for FY03. Some of that is based on the fee increase that we implemented. April and May were heavy months as far as the fee increase. And hopefully this will continue for FY04, so that's good news for our building office. Secondly, a program that I implemented with the town clerk's office is now in effect is passports can be applied for in the town clerk's office. That's good for two counts. One is for the convenience of all North Reading residents that they can apply for the passport here instead of going to another community or the postal facility. The other one is that we receive $30 for each passport. So we've been getting a number of people down in the town clerk's office for the past week and a half. Unfortunately, they have to realize they don't get the passport immediately that day. So we've had a couple of cases saying, I'm ready to go away, can I get my passport? And we have to instruct them if they want it immediately, they have to head into the central offices of Boston. It's been received very well. And this is another program which, for minimal cost for North Reading, we're giving out there, and it's also providing revenue for the town.
Thank you, Mr. Younger. Old and new business. Mr. Couch.
Nothing this week.
Okay. Mr. O'Leary.
Just a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to make note of recent passing of Lillian Sawyer, who was a long-time resident of North Reading, but also a tremendous, quiet benefactor to many community groups and organizations, particularly the ones concerned with the senior citizens in town. Her passing is a loss to the community, and her efforts over the years, again, were very quiet. A lot of people didn't know about them. That's the way she wanted to keep it, so I think it's important now that she's passed on to let people know that her contributions are greatly appreciated and sorely missed. On a happy note, I'd like to go to the fact that this evening the U14 boys youth soccer team and the U14 girls soccer team were both successful in the qualifying for the state tournaments, which will take place this weekend at UMass Amherst. So both boys, 14 boys and girls soccer teams have now proceeded on to the state finals. And, congratulations to the youth soccer program, first of all, but most importantly to these young men and women who are working so hard all season and getting as far as they have. It's probably the furthest that most of the program has ever put forward. And again, the boys U10 program this weekend were in line for the Commissioner's Cup, but came up a little bit short. They had to be congratulated too. Other than that, nothing else, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. O'Leary. Mrs. Bailey.
Just a couple things of note, and I don't know how many folks are watching out there at 10:30, but I'm hoping the transcript might help get some word out that needs to be out by Thursday. Viking, there was a hearing scheduled for the Zoning Board of Appeals for Viking Tree on this Thursday, June 16th, and I know it had been widely attended at the first hearing. That will be continued to July 10th, so just wanted to get that word out so folks weren't making plans needlessly to be here Thursday night when it will just be continued. At the ZBA meeting about a week and a half ago, Central Place was on the agenda again, the affordable housing project on Central Street. The representative for the developer was amenable to talking with local residents about the project and about the scope and size of the project. So any residents who especially who live in the lower Central Street neighborhood, right north of 62 there, who would like to be involved in perhaps a couple of meetings with representatives for the developer and other town officials to just see what we can do to make this project fit in better with the neighborhood are welcome. They're trying to get that set up rather quickly, both the meeting and especially the fact that there is going to be a meeting. The developer is looking for an answer by this Thursday night, June 16th, that there is a group willing to meet with him. So if anyone is watching, is interested in this project, they should contact Jim DeCola. The building inspector has, I guess, volunteered to be the point person and collect that. So if any of the other board members or anyone watching is interested in getting involved, please do contact Jim DeCola. If you can't reach him, feel free to contact me and I'll put you in touch with the right folks. And finally, the Friends of the Library are meeting this Thursday, June 16th at 7 p.m. in the library activity room, and they are really trying to revitalize and get more active on behalf of our library. So I would like to encourage any residents who use the library and who are interested in helping out to please attend, or if you're unable to attend but interested in joining Friends of the Library, you could get in touch with Helena Minton, the library director. That's all. Thank you.
Four quick things. The 7-Eleven at 237 Main Street will have a grand opening on Saturday, June 28th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and they'll have a ribbon cutting and some other events going on at that time. I'd like to give congratulations to a student from North Reading. She played on the women's ice hockey team, which reached the NCAA championship game this year. She was a speaker at the Globe's annual All-Scholastic Award Ceremony, June 15th at the Quincy Marriott. Her name is Lauren McCullough. I'd like to congratulate her.
Just as an aside, Lauren has also been selected as the next co-captain for the Harvard women's hockey team for next year. This year.
That's terrific.
Great season.
Great. I attended the annual Firefighters Memorial Sunday along with Mr. Murphy on June 8th, and it was a very nice ceremony, and I just want to, it's always a good chance to say thank you to all the, is that John again?
Hello.
What's he want to say now?
I'm sorry, what? Okay.
Put up the microphone.
Saturday, June 8th, the firefighter memorial, and they did a very nice job. It's a nice ceremony. It's a good tribute to the fire department, and it's always a good time to say thank you to all the employees of the town. And lastly, most importantly to me, I'd like to say happy birthday to my daughter, Lauren. Today is her birthday, and I actually missed her birthday, and she was at a gymnastics meet that I also missed, so I apologize, but happy birthday.
Go to bed.
She's in bed a long time ago. I hope if she's still listening to this, she's in trouble.
John from North Reading is still watching the
Go to bed, you too.
Our ratings have doubled.
Executive session. We have 3.
Right. One you have to return back into open
Yes.
session.
We will be returning to open session briefly. Not for adjournment.
So what is
Not
it?
for the
Are we
purpose
going
of
to
sole
take that
adjournment.
matter up first,
I would
come
take
back
first,
in,
yeah.
and then go back into executive session for the sole purpose of coming out?
So we'll go into executive session
What's the purpose of?
the purpose of removal of, what's the exact word?
Dismissal of a public officer. To consider the dismissal of a public officer.
And then to return to open session.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussion of dismissal of a public officer and to return to open session.
We have a motion, we have a second. We'd also like to include Mr. Reed in the executive session. Could you amend that to include Mr. Reed?
No. All right. Mr. Chairman, I move to enter into executive session for the purpose of the discussion of dismissal of a public officer to include Mr. Reed for the purpose of that discussion and to then return to open session.
Thank you. We have an amended motion. We have a second. Second. All those in favor, please say aye. Roll call for executive session. Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. O'Leary.
Aye.
Mrs. Bailey.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. So we'll go into executive session.
The mics are cut. Do you need me to hang around? I don't know. You mentioned not.
This John gonna get to watch.
I just I would have you hang here. Is the microphone off?
The mics are off, but the camera's
Because
just on
people are
the...
saying you're
Yes.
one public officer. and
Yes.
I'd rather.
I don't think we'll be too long.
All right.
A few minutes.
So I'll leave the camera on flat.
From Mr. Gallagher.
Mr. Chairman, I move to rescind the appointment of Gregory Brown to the Conservation Commission effective June 17th, 2003.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Mr. Brown is excused. Thank you very much, Mr. Reed.
Good.
Good night.
And I,
Mr. Callaghan.
Mr. Chairman, I move to enter into executive session for the purposes of contract negotiations and land acquisition, and to return to open session for the sole purpose of adjournment.
Have a motion. Second, Mr. O'Leary. Roll call vote. Mr. Callaghan.
Aye.
Mrs. Bailey.
aye.
Mr. O'Leary. Aye. And the chair votes aye. Thank you very much.
The board wishes to act on this evening, it's fine. If they wish until the third, till the meeting, I receive more information, that's fine also. Copy of it.
I have the legislation, but I don't have the, do you have the list of communities,
Yeah, I
Mr.
don't.
Young? I think it was in last week's.
What is the previous package?
It's on the back. I think it was 7 weeks old.
The following communities have supported, have voted to support the legislation.
That's correct.
Right? So this is the governing body of these communities have voted to support it,
That's
by at least a
correct.
majority.
That's correct.
I won't read the dates as well, but Hudson, Chelmsford, Bedford, Lincoln, Stowe, sounds like no school in them. Wilmington, Tewksbury, Sudbury, Boxborough, Weston, Carlisle, Westford, Ashland, Air, Acton, and Acton-Boxborough. The board wish to take action this evening, or does the board have further
I think,
questions for the town administrator?
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Mr. Vito.
I think I would like to read it over again and I don't have it with me this evening, I'd like to read it over again one more time. But Mr. Younger, could I ask you just, basically, what are the highlights of this?
Well, the highlights are, first of all, one of them is it changes the membership number from 5 to 7. And we basically have an equal number of members on the Board of Employees and management or communities. This would give you 3 members of the cities and towns, 3 members to be voted on by the employees, and 1 member to be chosen by the 6 who are on the board. You'd also have the executive director would not be a member of the retiring board as he currently is. It would be basically similar to the structure that we have here as the Board of Selectmen and myself, who I'd be reporting to the Board of Selectmen. Under the former situation, the executive director was a member of the board in that regard. Those are the major ones. Obviously, there's some issues regarding the operating budget and such. Each community or each member would have a say in how their pension funds are basically operated in this system. As of right now, the legislation is still in committee form. It hasn't reached down. Obviously, as you can see, Middlesex Retirement is putting up an effort to block the legislation. They have put an article in there from the recent executive director in there. I mean, we are meeting, say, within the next week. I can get an updated listing for you of any other further communities that have adopted it. But I haven't gotten any further questions from the board.
I still have the same comment, I guess, slash concern that I had when we talked about this last time. And that's really on the seventh item, which is establish that pension assets and liabilities will be determined as they are attributable to each individual member community and district, and provide that member communities and districts will have both the responsibility and the ability to fund the pension liability that is attributable to each member community and district on an individual basis. The concern I have with that is the same, and that is that